And we're live.
Good afternoon and welcome to another of the COVID 313 Community Coalition for Families and Youth. My name is Jametta Lilly, and I am so blessed to serve as the CEO of the Detroit Parent Network. I had to hesitate because at this point in time, I have to let you know that there's something really special about today as well. And that is for now 2 years, this coalition of people who are from the community, 30 different organizations came together and had our very first town hall, March 26, 2020. And so that's another reason I feel so blessed, because working together as a collaborative, we have been listening to you. We have tried to bring continuously information, whether it's health, education, social justice, and basic needs, that we're bringing it to you in a reliable way, bringing it to you with love, and bringing you experts and trusted resources so that you and your family can be healthy and be powerful. So to be able to be part of this wonderful coalition is just another one of the blessings that I certainly have, but I think all of us have, because this has been an extremely difficult and trying time. But even in the midst of this, we have been able to work together in this extraordinary way. So hopefully, if you are in this space, would you kind of for a moment hit pause? What were you doing March of 2020? Put that in the chat. I even want to invite those that are part of our 313 coalition, or even our guests. What were you doing in March 2020? Before the stay at home. Let me add that one, before the stay at home. And then later we're going to ask you to reflect on.
I'm sorry, everyone. It looks like we are not live on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Wes or Lana, do you all know what's going on? Or I guess Lana's not on here, but Wes, do you know what's going on? We are live on YouTube. Do we just need to share that?
I just reached out to Wes via text, so I'm just waiting for a response. He can't usually communicate with us through Zoom unless he puts
I'm going to jump off for a second. Facebook has caused all sorts of problems. We had 2 events yesterday, one with the University of Michigan, which they were providing the feed, and it didn't work to Facebook. And then our PBS Books event live last night didn't work either. So I'm sure that Wes is working on, perhaps we have to share it as opposed to
the live version,
cross-post it.
Sure, we could share the YouTube.
Yeah, let me talk to our people. I'll get off camera.
Your intro was so good, though.
I know, it was fabulous.
So remember, I've advocated every time that we should also record in Zoom. So then we have a third backup. Believe me now?
I agree.
Let's just do, so let's do this. These are things that we've learned. I mean, because remember, as we like to joke, we almost blew up the internet by our first and second program. We had so many people join us. So I think the thing that we've learned now is that our online platforms, they're not perfect any more than the humans that have helped to create them. And that we're seeing more and more challenges trying to use particularly Facebooks for live streaming. So for anyone who is in the Zoom with us now and our experts, to sound like a commercial, stay tuned. We're having some technical difficulties. We'll be with you shortly. So team, let me know when we should queue up again for YouTube or whichever. I'll just have another sip of coffee while waiting.
So team, we're going to go ahead and proceed with the town hall. What we'll do as a backup is just share it later from the YouTube, and Wes has it recorded on his end. So it's just not feeding properly to Facebook. So we're just going to keep going.
So should we share the YouTube right now on our Facebook pages?
So he said posting it later. I'm not sure if it would allow sharing. I can give him a call back.
Okay.
So given those are 2 different things, there's Facebook and then there's YouTube. Was it already running, or do I just need to do a quick rewind?
It was already running on YouTube, but if you want to take it from the top, sure.
Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Take two. Take two.
Take two. Oh, I like that. Take two. Not take 5, but take 2. Good afternoon and welcome to another COVID 313 Community Coalition for Children and Youth. My name is Jametta Lilly, and I am an extraordinarily blessed woman because I am a part of this fabulous coalition that came together, believe it or not, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, just like all of you in our community, we were trying to figure out now what? What is this thing called COVID? What is this thing now that we must do so that we can make sure that our babies and our families have access to food? What do we do if you're thinking about you may need to be evicted? What do we do if you need primary health care, a test, or a vaccine? So I am so proud to share that 30 organizations came together. Actually, it was more than that when we first started, and said, we have to be here for our community. And lots of things happened, but let me share with you the core things, was that a dedicated group of us came together on a voluntary basis. We're meeting 3 days a week, convening a 2-hour town hall, actually for at least the first 7 or 8 months, bringing you, our families, our babies, our youth, our seniors, trusted resources, whether it's in the area of health, obviously, because we're still combating COVID, education, because we want to make sure that our children and our families were getting information about how to navigate the challenges of the digital divide and trying to figure out how, in fact, to do this thing called at-home schooling and maybe still work while your children at home. So we were bringing you education information. And lots of families needed to know where to go for food and other kind of basic resources. So basic needs was the third area that we have focused on. The fourth has been so critical because if we don't know it, everyone knows that structural racism and the biases and fragmentation and the animosity and the vitriol that exists is something that we in the coalition have been about the business for decades of working on social justice. So we've been bringing it to you for 2 years, focused on health, education, basic needs, and social justice with awesome experts and trusted resources. So it's a pleasure again. I happen to be the CEO of the Detroit Parent Network. We are again one of many of the fabulous organizations and foundations that are supporting this work. So, okay, get comfortable. Hope you are. In the chat, tell us for a moment, what were you thinking? What were you doing when you got the notice of the stay-at-home order in March of 2020? I want to invite anyone that's out there, whether you're checking in with us on YouTube, hopefully at some point, Facebook, folks in the Zoom. I want to challenge even our experts and our team members for the COVID 313 Coalition. What were you doing when you found out about the stay-at-home order? Let's just hear it. It might be interesting. Also tell us maybe where you're joining us from. But I think right now, I hope you're excited like we are, because we have an important group of people to talk to us about some really important needs that are relevant to families right now. So I'm not going to delay any further. I am so delighted. I'm so pleased to have met Christine Bell, who's the executive director of UNI, and she, as well as some others. But, you know, Christine, we've been looking at each other in our rectangles for 2 years. We only met in person, about 3 months ago?
Well, one other time, when you became the executive director
Yes.
of DPN, I came to see you because DPN has been a longtime partner of UNI. And in our neighborhood. So yes, I got to meet you then, but really got to meet you like 3 months ago, which was a pleasure to see you in person.
And so let's all be prayerful that we will, that more in our community are focusing on science, getting vaccinated so that more of us can move back to in-person engagement with each other. We're looking forward to this because Zoom is nice, but all of us would rather be with each other, be healthy, and be well. So Christine, take us away. Thank you.
Thanks, Jametta. Like Jametta said, my name is Christine, and I am the co-moderator today for today's town hall. I can't even believe that it's been 2 years, and I am honored to serve as the Executive Director of Urban Neighborhood Initiatives and a really proud member of this coalition. And I'm not sure if we told everybody the different ways that we bring you the town hall. So Julie, can you share how folks can ensure that they see the ASL interpretation? Thank you so much, Julie, and it's really good to see you. I missed you last week. Well, it was really 2 weeks ago. And then we have Cristina Guzman here, who is doing our Spanish interpretation. Cristina, can you please share how people can listen to the Spanish interpretation?
Sí, buenas tardes a todos. Gracias por estar aquí. Si quieren escuchar a la charla en español, pueden ir en Facebook vivo de la organización Urban Neighborhood Initiatives y también pueden ir en vivo, pueden ir al chat y hay un enlace para que puedan escuchar en vivo. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Cristina, and it's wonderful to have you with us again today. Thank you. So we're going to get to it. We want to thank everybody that has joined us today. We have some amazing experts here around the child tax credit and tax prep, property tax exemption, a new rental assistance program, and we have Tony Paris here to talk about unemployment, all the things that are sort of urgent in this moment as we emerge out of the pandemic. And I say that, you know, cautiously, because I know that we're not in an endemic right now. We also know that in addition to the sickness that folks have experienced, we've also experienced a lot of loss in relationship to housing and jobs. And so excited to have these experts here today. I just want to remind you all to please speak slowly so that our translators can translate the important information that you are giving correctly. And then please turn yourself off of the camera when you're not speaking. Remember to mute yourself. And that is to ensure that our ASL interpreter can be seen. And then our timekeeper, the best timekeeper I know, Terry Whitfield, is here, and he will be chatting you. So keep your eye on the chat. He'll let you know when you're approaching your time. And then if you're going over your time, myself or Jametta will come onto camera and gently remind you to wrap up. We will have question and answers from our viewers. So please remember, we want to hear from you. Put your comments and questions in the chat. So to kick us off today, please welcome Afton Branch Wilson. She is the Assistant Director of Community Initiatives at U of M Poverty Solutions. So Afton, can you please come onto camera? Hi, how are you? It's so good to see you. And she is gonna talk with us about child tax credits and tax preparation. And those two things go together because you need to do one to get the other. So why don't you take it away? Take it away.
Thank you so much, Christine, and thanks everybody for having me today. Good afternoon. I'm going to share some slides just so that we can follow along with what I'm talking about here. It looks like I'm not able to share slides, so if the host wouldn't mind enabling that. While that's going on, I just want to introduce myself. I'm here from Poverty Solutions at U of M. I'm here on behalf of a big, wonderful coalition of community partners, funders, et cetera, talking about the child tax credit and other amazing tax credits that are available this tax season. I know that, you know, for some, tax season seems like, oh, I want to avoid that. But this year, there's a lot of great tax credits available for families. So we want to get excited about tax season this time. Here's my coalition of folks who are working with us. And I'm going to jump right in here. So like Christine said, by filing taxes, you can qualify for a lot of phenomenal tax credits this season to support your families. So I'm going to talk about three main pieces here. So first, the earned income tax credit. It's for folks who have earnings from work. Some great news this year is that this tax season, the earned income tax credit has been expanded to give more money to more workers. So for the first time, the EITC is available to seniors who work and workers without kids. So this year, you just need to be 19 years old, at least 19 years old, and have incomes below $21,000 for singles and $27,000 for spouses who are filing together. And to qualify for the earned income tax credit, you can have children or no children, and you'll need to be a US citizen. The second one I wanted to share about this season is the third stimulus payment. So there's some of us who haven't gotten our third stimulus payment. It's also called the economic impact payment. If you did not receive that, it's not too late. So you can actually claim that when you file your taxes this year. You'll need to claim what's called the recovery rebate credit. And in order to do that, you'll first need the amount that you received for your third stimulus payment. So let's say you got some of it, but you think that you're still eligible for some more. You'll need to get that amount that you received and enter that in when you're filing your taxes, or give it to your tax prep person who's helping you. If you didn't get it at all, well, of course, that amount is zero. So that's something that you want to flag if you're still missing that third stimulus payment and you did not receive that. Now, there are some folks who missed their first or second stimulus payment. So to get that one, you actually need to file your 2020 taxes if you haven't already. And the main requirement to be aware of with this one is that you do unfortunately need to be a US citizen to access the third stimulus payment. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the child tax credit, which was expanded last year. There's a lot of new stuff going on with this credit, so I want to make sure that we have a good amount of time to talk about this. So the child tax credit was expanded thanks to the Biden administration in order to really compensate families for the hard work that they're doing raising children during COVID. In order to access this credit, you need to have children who are under 18, who are related to you and live with you more than 6 months of the year. So they don't need to be your biological children. They can be your nieces and nephews, they can be your grandchildren, etc. But they do need to live with you 6+ months of the year. Now, what's great about this child tax credit is you don't need to work or have any income to access this. So seniors who are on Social Security and who are taking care of their grandchildren more than 6 months of the year, for example, they are eligible for this child tax credit, which is great. Also, if you are caregiving for children, you can be a non-citizen. So if you file your taxes with an ITIN or something like that, you can access this tax credit. Now, your children must be citizens with Social Security numbers to be eligible for the tax credit. But you, if you're not a citizen, all you need is your ITIN and you can file to get your child tax credit. Now, for all three of these benefits that I mentioned, there's a couple things I want to point out. So for all of these, you are eligible even if you receive other government support like SNAP or Section 8. And also, these don't count as income, so they're not going to reduce any benefits that you get like SNAP or Section 8. All right, so let me move on to the next slide here to give you a couple more facts about the child tax credit because it's new. So one important thing is how much are we going to get? That's a common question that we get. So $3,600 per child ages under 6 and $3,000 per child 6 to 17. And there's no limit to how many qualifying children you can claim. So if you have 5 children who live with you more than 6 months of the year, you can claim all 5 of them. One important thing is that this increased number, typically the child tax credit's $2,000. It's more money this year, but it's only for this year. So you really have one opportunity to file your taxes, claim this child tax credit, and get that extra support for your family. All right. So if you didn't file your taxes last year or get the credit last year, you are able to get it this year. We know that some families already received the first half of their child tax credit last year. They got monthly payments. You might have seen those coming to you. This year, you need to file again to get the second half of the child tax credit as a lump sum payment. So last year, you got the first half as monthly payments. This year, you get the second half as one big payment. And the common theme here is you got to file taxes to get both of those things. All right, some general information about filing your taxes and getting credits that I wanted to share with you all. So one thing we know is that there are some folks who might be claiming children on their taxes who might not actually be their dependents. Someone might say, hey, you can claim this child, I'll give you some money, and we'll work something out so you can get the tax credit. So there is a risk with that. The IRS considers that fraud if you don't actually have a dependent who's living with you and you're claiming them as a dependent. So if you're found out, you might have to repay those credits plus interest, and you'll be banned for whatever credit you got for filing again for several years. So it's a pretty costly thing to do. On the other hand, if someone claimed your child, so let's say you want to file your taxes and you found that someone else has claimed your child, you can get some great help from trained tax prep folks to help you sort that situation out. So I'll share some information in a few slides on how to get help with tax prep. But if you're experiencing a situation where someone else has claimed your child and not sure what to do, there's some support for you out there to do that. Another thing I wanted to mention is shared custody situations. So the child tax credit is based on your 2021 family situation. So you can't split those payments over across two parents or two caregivers. So if you have custody of your child, they live with you more than 6 months of the year, you should have gotten, if you filed your taxes last year, you should have gotten the first half, and then this year you'll get the second half. But let's say you switch off between your other parent. So if the other parent received payments last year, but the child actually didn't live with them more than 6 months of the year last year, they may have to repay a little bit of their tax credit if their income is above certain levels. We don't expect that is a situation for many families. I just wanted to share that in case you are encountering that situation. All right, so one question we get a lot is around, let's say you owe some back taxes, you owe child support or other things like that. It's important for you all to know that your child tax credit payment and other refunds can be reduced if you owe back taxes. So that will be taken out of the refund that you might receive. One thing to think about it as is sort of helping you clear some of the back debt that you have. So I would say don't be afraid of filing your taxes if you have some back taxes, because this year there's so many more credits available, it might help you pay those back. One last thing, I mentioned this before, but it's worth repeating. All of these great tax credits are not counted as income for your benefits, and you can still receive them if you're getting benefits like SNAP or Social Security and other things of that nature. All right, so I talked a lot about the importance of filing taxes. So how do you actually do that? Where can you get help to file your taxes? It can be kind of complicated, and a lot of us don't want to do it alone. So to get help filing your taxes, you can go to getthethaxfacts.org. That's getthethaxfacts.org to schedule an appointment for free tax preparation from highly trained folks in the community. So one of the things that's important to know with this is that there's lots of different ways to get your taxes done by these two great organizations, Accounting Aid and Wayne Metro, who are the providers in our community. You can do it in person if you'd like to do it that way. You can drop off your documents and come back when they're ready. You can do a phone intake, or you can do it all virtual. There's lots of different options for what you're comfortable with. And you can go to getthethaxfacts.org to select which option you are most comfortable with. These folks, as I said, are highly trained and their accuracy rates are amazing. The phrase "you get what you pay for" does not apply here. This is free tax prep, but it's free, extremely high quality tax prep. A couple of things in terms of eligibility: you'll need to earn under $57,000 a year. to get your taxes done by Accounting Aid in Wayne Metro, and you need to live in the 3-county area as well. You can go to that website to schedule your tax prep appointment. You can also call 211 to do it that way if you prefer to talk to someone to get your taxes done. All right, so I'm hoping that I shared with you the importance of filing taxes this year. Tax season is wrapping up. The deadline is April 18th. So I'm hoping that you guys, if you haven't done it already, are thinking about getting your documents together and thinking about making those steps. I know that, due to COVID and all sorts of other reasons, a lot of folks are out of work or were out of work last year. So even if you did not work last year, there's still lots of money on the table for you. And we really don't want you to miss out on that. So those are the main messages that I wanted to share with you about the tax credits this year. One last opportunity I wanted to share. Poverty Solutions is conducting a study to better understand how people in the community find and pay for childcare. And they also want to learn about your thoughts on the child tax credit and lots of other programs. So if you want to help us with this study, you want to help us learn from experiences in the community, and you are in Washtenaw, Wayne, or Emmett County, you may be eligible for $30 in exchange for a conversation with us. So if you're interested in participating in this study and sharing your experiences with us, you can email us at barrierstobenefits@umich.edu. And I see Christine, so I am done. Thank you very much.
That was really, that was wonderful and such good information. I feel like such good information and really technical information. So just to summarize really quickly, file your taxes. You can still file your 2020 taxes to get the child tax credit from last year. You have to file it for this year. And folks that have children that are documented, but they are not documented, are still eligible for the child tax credit. So file your taxes. And it does sound like I did want to summarize, because one of the questions that came up was, in what instances should people be aware that their taxes might get intercepted? So if you have back taxes, and was there anything else that would intercept your taxes?
Yeah, so if you owe child support, so back taxes, if there's like state taxes that you owe, and then child support, that's the last category.
Not student loans?
Not student loans, no.
Great, okay. Thank you so much. This was such wonderful information. We deeply appreciate you being on. U of M Poverty Solutions is a wonderful partner and can connect folks to resources. So if you have questions, we are putting links in the chat right now of how you can get access to free tax preparation, both through the United Way and then in what we shared earlier on the PowerPoint. So moving on, we're still in tax exemption mode. We are now going to talk about property tax exemption. So I'd like to invite Willie Donwell, administrator for the Detroit Board of Review, and he is going to talk with us today about the HOPE program, which is a program that supports folks getting their property tax exemption. So, Willie, take it away.
Thank you, Kristen, and I'm so happy to be here today. Before I get started, I just want to say I think that this is a great process that you guys, in terms of getting together and working together to provide information to the community, because so many people need assistance in so many ways. So what you guys are doing is invaluable. So thank you for what you're doing. My name is Willie Donwell. Again, I'm the administrator for the City of Detroit Board of Review. Just real quickly, the Board of Review is a 9-member body appointed by City Council to hear your property tax appeal concerns. What we're going to talk about today is the HOPE exemption, the homeowner's property exemption. The homeowner's property exemption provides an opportunity for homeowners, that means an owner-occupied property, to see a reduction or even elimination of their current year property taxes. This is so beneficial to homeowners in so many ways because right before COVID hit, Governor Whitmer signed into law the Pay As You Stay program. The Pay As You Stay program for anyone who receives a exemption at any level from the city of Detroit can see a reduction in their back property taxes to no more than 10% of the taxable value of their property. Here's what that means in real dollars. Pay As You Stay program provides that reduction and is administered by the Wayne County Treasurer. For a person that may have $15,000 in back taxes, but has only a taxable value of $11,000, that $15,000 gets reduced to $1,100. So this is a game changer for homeowners, and it definitely has had a huge impact on helping homeowners stay in their homes. There are just over 10,000 homes have been saved through this process. And we highly, highly encourage homeowners to apply for this process. Here's what it means right now. We are approximately 7 days away from March 31st. That means that you need to apply for the HOPE exemption in order to save your home from tax foreclosure. The benefit is if you submit your application today, prior to March 31st, and we have it on file, and you have a principal residence exemption on file with the Office of the Assessor, we can get your home removed from the foreclosure process while we are determining the outcome of your application. It is important that you get that application filed right away so that we can get you into the process, because if you don't have a principal residence exemption on file with the Office of the Assessor, that is a separate step that is going to have to be done. So the PRE affidavit, principal residence exemption affidavit, is a part of the HOPE application. And that application is available in a number of ways. It is available online at detroitmi.gov/HOPE. And you can actually file it online, or you can download it and complete it. I would not recommend mailing it. I would recommend dropping it off, because we can't guarantee that mail, based upon what's going on today, is going to get to us in a timely manner in terms of getting it to us before March 31st. In addition, we have a number of community partners that are assisting with the completion of applications. One of our very well-established community partners, which is Wayne Metro, is even doing a series of clinics next week at their office on Woodward. Their office is at 7310 Woodward Avenue, and they're going to be doing these clinics from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you can reach them at 244-0274. 244-0274. And that is a 313 area code. You can also go to their website at waynemetro.org. But again, the importance of the application process, we have to remember that this is for owner-occupied properties only. In order to be eligible, you must complete the entire application. It is a Michigan Treasury Form 5737, and there is an added benefit that you're required to complete the Form 5739, which based upon a change in state law, there is the ability for those homeowners that are of a sole source of income of a government source, being Social Security, disability, and sources such as that, can actually have their exemption extended up to an additional 3 years. So you would only have to file once, and then you can receive that exemption for up to an additional 3 years without having to refile. So when you're completing the application, make sure you complete that form. And if you qualify for that additional step, then you will not have to worry about submitting an application for again, an additional 3 years. There's a couple of other things in terms of the process. I want to make sure that homeowners and property owners understand. We've done a tremendous amount of outreach and support as it relates to assisting with homeowners and the challenges that they have with property taxes. And so we've done a lot of outreach. We've been a part of town hall meetings. We have done a tremendous amount of advertising, and we're currently doing door knocking. And we also provide additional education and support to anyone who is seeking to provide assistance to homeowners. And even with all of that, I believe that it is still not enough, because if we have one homeowner that is in threat of foreclosure, I believe that we still have not done our job enough. So I am imploring that all of you that are listening, reach out to, if it's someone that you know, if it is a neighbor, if it is a adjacent property, participate, submit an application, allow the Board of Review to determine the outcome of that application, but don't miss the opportunity. If you're a homeowner, do not miss the opportunity to have your home removed from tax foreclosure through this process. It is very, very, very important that you submit that application, because without it, we cannot assist in that part of the process. I think that, again, also in the application process itself, if you need to understand what is required to submit with the application, again, that is available on the City of Detroit website, because each application has to be determined on a case-by-case basis. While the general outline of the application is you must submit a completed application, there is documentation that is required to be submitted with the application. That documentation includes a registered deed or proof of ownership with the Wayne County Register of Deeds, proof of residency. So that is going to be state driver's license or ID. We also need to have proof of residency for any minor children. So for minor children, that can be a number of things. They can be on the tax return. You can provide a report card. You can provide transcript. Again, if they're receiving government assistance, the letter that government assistance comes on, you're going to have to provide proof of income for each member of the household. And then each member of the household that's required to file taxes, a tax return. If they're not required to file taxes, then they're going to be required to file a Form 4988 and a 4506T, which again is a part of the application. But I want you to understand that you have to review the application for your particular household to make sure you're submitting all the required documentation for your particular household. But again, we need you to submit that application right away so we can get you into the process to make sure that your home gets removed from this tax foreclosure process. And for any additional information, please, you can again call 244-0274, which is Wayne Metro. You can call our office at 313-628-0722. And then on the City of Detroit website, detroitmi.gov/hope.
And Willie, there are people that help with the application process. So I know sometimes we hear these forms, and quite frankly, government forms are very confusing sometimes. So, and as you were reading off the numbers, I started to think to myself, wow, that's a lot. So, but there are folks that help. Wayne Metro is one organization that helps. Is this also something where you could go to I'm thinking of like Bridging Communities and Central Detroit Christian CDC. Are those folks still helping with these applications?
You know, Christian, that's a great question. We have 12 to 14 community partners that are assisting with applications. And again, they're listed on the city's website. But yes, Bridging Communities, Youth Snapback, Central Detroit Christian, the Friends of the Alger Theater. You know, we have a great, you know, group of property assistance home organizations that assist homeowners with the completion of their application, and they're located in your neighborhood. They're located in your neighborhood, so you don't have to worry about trekking all the way down to the city county building. You can go to somewhere that is right near you to get the assistance that you're looking for to get that application completed.
Thank you, Willie. And so I want to say this, in Southwest Detroit, you can go see Bridging Communities or Southwest Economic Solutions. On the west side, you can go to Central Detroit Christian CDC, Cody Rouge Community Action Alliance at St. Suzanne's, Grandmont Rosedale Development Corp. And on the east side, you can see East Side Community Network or ECN, Friends of the Elgin Theater, Jefferson East, MAC Development, Osborne Neighborhood Alliance, and You Snap Back. So just a shout out to all of those organizations. They are all colleagues of mine, and they do really wonderful work. So it's in your neighborhood if you need assistance with filling out the forms. So, and I think what Willie said is important. Remember that one of the documents, you can go and get your taxes filed, and then go, and that will be proof for your tax exemption. So, and then Willie, we have another question from folks that are listening. What about those that have applied for the Michigan Housing Assistance Fund? Will homes come off the foreclosure list while awaiting approval from MIHAF?
So the simple answer is yes. The county treasurer,
Okay.
the county treasurer has made it clear that folks are again waiting a determination from the MIHAF program. What they have to do is, when their application is complete, they get a congratulations letter that they've submitted their application, and they're going to have to submit that cover letter that has been submitted to the Wayne County Treasurer's Office. So for that process, you want to contact Wayne County Treasurer at 224-5990, and that's 313. And they have a email that is MIHAF, MIHAF .wcto@waynecounty.com.
Willie, thank you so much. We are going to drop the website, the City of Detroit website, in the chat. It has wonderful information about what makes you eligible. It's just it gives you all the information in one place. You can also use the phone numbers that Willie has given us. And I want to thank you so much for being here. This is a really wonderful opportunity for folks. And so maybe if you weren't eligible last year for property tax exemption, but you are this year because of COVID, please remember that this is here to help both in the long term and in the short term to make sure that you can keep your house. And we all know after spending 2 years in our houses, how important our houses are. So go ahead, Willie.
Hey, Christian, if I could add one more note. We recently received, and it's going to be added to the website, we recently received approval from the State Tax Commission to add a 10% exemption for homes that are in threat of foreclosure. So we now have a higher income level. We now have a higher income level that we can use to grant an exemption and get more and more people into the PAYS program and take a home out of tax foreclosure. So please, again, use the process. And then for the MIHAF program, also to everyone that's listening, remember that their income levels is 195% of the, 150% of the area median income. So for a home of 2 in Wayne County, that would be an income level of about $95,000. So their income levels are extremely, extremely high for the MIHAF program.
So reach out to those folks that we just named off, and thank you so much, Willie, for being here. I am now going to pass the virtual mic to Jametta Lilly. Jametta? You're muted, Jametta.
Thank you. It's incredibly important for people to know these resources, but it's also important for us to move to what are some of the other critical resources that you may not own your home. You may be a renter. So with that, we're really pleased to have join us Colton Dale. Dale is with the Wayne County Economic Development Department and specifically Emergency Rental Assistance Program. There are needs that people have right now, which in fact, we have so many people within the city and the county that are renters. Colton, we are looking forward to hearing your information. If you would start us, please.
Sure. Hey, everybody. I think Deja is going to share my slides. There they are. Wonderful. So I am Colton Dale. I am with the Wayne County Economic Development Department, and I just want to share some information about a great program we have right now that is open for renters and landlords across Wayne County. It is called the Wayne County Emergency Rental Assistance Program, otherwise known as ERAP. Next slide. So I like to start with sort of a who, what, where, when, why of this program to sort of set the context. So who is the program for? First and foremost, as I mentioned, it is open to landlords and their tenants across Wayne County who have been financially impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, who are experiencing some form of housing instability, and whose household income is at or below 80% of area median income. And if you don't know what the area median income is, we have a table that can show you on our webpage for this program. So what types of assistance are available? Assistance is available for rent, of course, as well as utilities. Utility assistance may include electricity, gas, home heating, water, sewer, and even trash, if trash is billed with another utility such as water and sewer. We also have internet stipends available and relocation assistance available, such as a security deposit. Next slide. So where can a tenant or landlord apply? We have a very, very easy to use, user-friendly online application, and I'll dive into that in a little bit more here in a minute here. There are separate applications for tenants and landlords. Both of those applications can be found on our webpage for this program. You can see the webpage at the bottom of each slide on this presentation. It is www.waynecounty.com/rental assistance. When are applications being accepted? Right now, we opened this program in late September of last year. The program is still ongoing. We are accepting applications on a rolling basis, and we don't have an end date for this program as of right now. So if you want to apply, we definitely encourage you to do it and do it as soon as possible, because the sooner you apply, the sooner you may be able to get some assistance. Next slide. So why was this program created? I think it's important to understand how we got here. I mean, it goes without saying, obviously, all the issues that were, that existed in not just Wayne County, but across the country were all exacerbated by the pandemic, especially the affordable housing crisis that was already happening. So to alleviate this crisis, there was emergency rental assistance dollars provided to state governments, county governments, so that we can make funding available for renters and landlords who are, behind on their rent, behind on their utility bills, so we can give them back their financial peace of mind. Next slide. So there are some federal eligibility requirements that folks need to know about before they apply. Number one, you have to be a current or prospective renter in Wayne County. Unfortunately, we can't help folks in Oakland County or Macomb County. This is for Wayne County residents. One or more individuals within the household has qualified for unemployment benefits or experienced a reduction in household income or incurred significant costs. Most of us have incurred significant costs throughout this pandemic, right? Whether we're spending more time at home, which means a higher electricity bill, higher childcare costs or something of that nature, or having to pay for PPE that we didn't have to before. So that's a pretty open-ended eligibility requirement right there. Or if you've experienced any other sort of financial hardship due to the pandemic, whether it be directly or indirectly. Another thing, one or more individuals within the household has to be able to demonstrate a risk of experiencing homelessness or housing instability. So that could just mean something as simple as, being late on your rent and being able to provide that to us. And then again, I said, that 80% or below of your area median income. You can see the table right there. I'm not going to go through that, but that is available on our website just in case you wanted to see if you fall within that range or not. Next slide. So back to the types of assistance that are available. I just want to dive in a little deeper here. So rent, this is the backbone of the program is rental assistance. We can provide up to 15 months of rental assistance. Up to 3 months of that can be for future rent, which is, we have cases where people say, look, I don't have rental arrears, but I just lost my job and I don't know how I'm going to pay the next 3 months of rent. We can still assist you. Late fees, we can cover late fees up to $400. Utilities and home energy costs, as I said, electricity, home heating, water, sewer. We have maximums based on the number of people in the home. Again, this information is on the website. An internet stipend up to $300. And of course, the relocation assistance, which is really the security deposit, which cannot exceed 1 month of rent. Next slide. So getting into the online application a little bit more, as I said, there are separate applications for tenants and landlords. Both of them are found on the website. Both of them are very easy to use, user-friendly applications. I want to note here that tenants can apply without having their landlord apply with them. On the contrary, landlords cannot apply unless we are able to tie it to a tenant application. So tenants can apply without their landlords, but landlords cannot apply without a tenant. And again, both of these applications can be found at www.waynecounty.com/rental assistance. Next slide. So I want to wrap up here, but I do want to add just a couple things. I've already listed the website a few times. If you need assistance, though, we have an email and a call center that you can call. So the email is rentaلاssistance@waynecounty.com. The call center is 833-742-1513. Another thing I want to mention, just because we are running a very digital-based program, we understand not everybody's going to have a computer at home or access to Wi-Fi. We do have in-person sites that you can go to. They are all listed on our website. And of course, if you need help with the application, you can always call the call center. And with that, I'll end there.
Colton, that was a lot of important information, and we have lots of questions. So if we may, we would love to be able to get back with you to bring you back to talk more about this program, because we know how many renters are out there. So we would really appreciate the opportunity. And to those of you that have been sending your questions, what we'll do is work, Colton, to get those to you. So perhaps we can even have that in advance, but we definitely want to have you back with us soon. And so we're going to need to move forward, because the other and critical thing about basic needs, we've been talking about rent, property tax, but the whole issue of unemployment. And we're pleased as always to welcome back Tony Paris, attorney with Sugar Law. Tony, take us away. What are some of the most critical things that people need to know that are going on right now with unemployment?
Hi, everybody. It's good to be back as always. And I did receive some questions that I think many members had. I'll try to kind of summarize them all together as far as where we are at in the process. Obviously, Michigan's system is one of the worst in the country. There's news out every single day about all of that. And it's kind of culminated both this previous summer and around Christmas time at hundreds of thousands of individuals being asked to pay back benefits that they received during the pandemic. If you or a loved one or family or friend are one of these individuals, it's very important to remember not only that we're here for you at Sugar Law Center, and I'll put my information in the chat, But really, when the bill goes out, or when the notice of restitution goes out, it is always accompanied with a decision of some sort. We call them determinations or redeterminations. And it's very important to be able to have those decisions, either via regular hard copy, or if you use a MyWAM, the online portal that is used for the Michigan unemployment system, it's even easier to protest or appeal these decisions under the determination status tab after you click on your claim. But they have to be protested or appealed within 30 days. Many folks make the mistake of just freaking out, trying to call the agency or send them a chat or something. None of that is something that we can rely upon. We just have to protest or appeal it through MyWAM if possible, or fax is the second best option. Mailing isn't very good. We've heard that the agency is months behind on their hard copy mail, and you don't need a lawyer to just get those initial protests or appeals in. Something as simple as, I disagree with this, is enough. You really, the main thing that we look for at Sugar Law is that after your second protest or appeal, you actually get a phone interview, phone hearing, conference call type of hearing. That's when we would get involved and provide direct representation. And that's the level that most folks finally get this all sorted or figured out. The only mistakes are waiting, trying to get a hold of the agency and just throwing your hands up and hoping that it goes away. There's been some news reports that the governor is going to waive these things, or that the legislature is going to allow a waiver. We can't rely upon it. We have no guarantee that that's going to occur, and there's no guarantee that the specific facts of each one of your cases would fall into one of those waivers. So in the meantime, it's just about protesting or appealing it directly through the system, not paying anything. The agency's position is, if you get a timely appeal in, there's not supposed to be any collection activity, no garnishments, no taking of your state or federal tax returns. If it's a late protest or appeal and folks have received garnishments of sort, or notice that they're going to have their tax returns taken or their wages garnished, it's important to not only document to the penny what is taken. So if and when we're successful in winning your case, you get that all back. But more importantly, it's important that you contact the benefit overpayment unit right there on your bill. Say, I have a timely appeal. I've been waiting for the agency to decide this. Please hold off on collection or reduce the percentage of garnishment if necessary, while we wait the very slow process of it kind of going through the various channels: determination, redetermination, phone hearing, phone interview. That's the most important thing to remember. If you have readily accessible documents showing your connection to the workforce in 2019 or 2020, and that COVID was the reason that you became unemployed or underemployed, of course, attach those to your protest or appeal. MyWAM lets you upload them right there. But don't go out of your way or freak out if you're not able to get them, that it's going to take forever, because the most important part is getting a timely protest or appeal in. When the phone notice comes, the phone hearing notice comes, that doesn't go to MyWAM. It's only snail mail, only regular mail. So your address should be updated with the agency. And that's when you get a hold of Sugar Law as soon as possible. We do more of those than anybody in the state. We've been very successful in getting restitution removed for individuals. And we really are here to let you know that although we are in a very difficult time for this leftover pandemic restitution issue, we can also advise anybody who's worried that whether they qualify now. All the laws have kind of gone back to what they were before the pandemic, at least as far as unemployment is concerned. And one of the questions that I received was how you normally would qualify. Well, there's first going to be an inquiry into whether you have enough wages in the base period, usually going back about 1.5 years. W-2 wages are factored in and calculated, and you get a number from $0 to $362 a week that initially they'll let you know whether you may qualify, but there can be disputes all along, whether you quit without cause, whether you were fired for cause, whether you refused an offer of suitable work. These are common disputes that happen along the line leading up to that hearing. And so I'll put all my information in the chat. I can do any other questions that people need, but it is a tough time for many individuals out there while we kind of sort through the restitution issues, which are mostly the fault of the state of Michigan. Him asking the wrong questions and not being thorough enough in the beginning of the pandemic, that now that they've received this guidance from the federal government and have taken forever to implement those changes, folks who have not been on unemployment for months are freaking out that these bills are now being sent to them. So again, let me know if you have any questions. I'll put all that information in there, and thanks again for having me.
Thank you. And we know that you need to jump, but I'm wondering if you could, Tony, just like there have been, thousands of individuals impacted, there have been lots of employers impacted with the chaos, if you will, that exists at the state level. So what should employers do when they are consistently getting letters and discussions about, you're breaching your responsibility because they're identifying staff that have never even worked for you, or they were contractors and are now claiming unemployment? Who do those, it's particularly nonprofits who don't have the benefit of having corporate attorneys on their staff. Where do you suggest that they should reach out to?
So the contract issue is a fairly easy one. If it was during a pandemic time period at all, which primarily stems from March of 2020 through, I think the law was extended through at least maybe September 4th of 2021. If it's outside of that time frame, these are recent contractors, they're likely not going to be eligible, right? You're probably going to get some notice that there was no wages, W-2 reported wages to the state of Michigan quarterly, but that the individual may be trying to still show that they would be eligible for benefits. The contractor coverage was only, for the first time and only time in American history, during the pandemic. Either your 1099 folks, your self-employed individuals, your cash individuals, or gig workers. All of those folks are unfortunately no longer included for new filings. Now, the one other thing that's common is many employers have experienced the same level of fraud that many workers have experienced.
Right.
There was multiple contract employees from the state of Michigan who are being indicted and all types of data breaches and other types of problems that allowed for certain social security numbers or EIN numbers to be lost. The important thing about that is employers are going to receive notice, usually called a monetary determination, very early on that somebody has attempted to file an unemployment insurance claim under the employer's account or FEIN. The important thing to remember is that employers usually have at least 2 weeks. The state puts a 2-week limit initially on responding and just simply saying no record of this individual working here, and not an employee of ours, or not employed with us, or terminated for cause, quit without cause. All of those types of things are right there. Now, the employer is still able to protest or dispute that after the 2 weeks. However, the 2 weeks sets the presumption where after the 2 weeks, now the individual may be allowed to collect off of that account. And if it's overturned later, obviously there might be restitution. But the employer faces sometimes a penalty for waiting over that 2 weeks, because what the state views it as, well, now we have to figure out restitution transfers if you end up showing that the person was not eligible. That cost us resources. So the employer will always have a chance to dispute those. If it's a fraud notice, if this person has never been affiliated with the employer in any way, in addition to disputing it and protesting or appealing the monetary determination on it, the employer will probably also want to make sure that a fraud notice or form is filled out. It's a Googleable form that just says, we believe that somebody is opening a fraudulent claim on the account. Workers can do that as well. Many individual workers are being noticed that they either, somebody drew benefits in their name and it's all being held up, or that their social security number was being used. They should fill out that form as well. The employers should also know this. If it's for a pandemic time period and the issue deals with quitting or needing to voluntarily be off because of customary childcare losses, because of immunocompromised issues for themselves or somebody they care about, any types of COVID health and safety related issues, or if the individual has refused to return to work because of one of those issues. The employer can work with the state of Michigan to provide for unemployment insurance benefits of notifying them that it's a COVID-related separation, and that's a win-win sometimes. Because what happens then is that the employer is not charged. It goes to a non-chargeable unemployment insurance account, a separate account created, fund created for this exact reason. And when Sugar Law was doing a lot of those cases during the pandemic, early on in our hearings, we could say to the employer, you understand this is a COVID separation, it will be non-chargeable. And once we could confirm that with the judge, they were often not, combative, or in otherwise there was no disputes, because it would be kind of this person can get in benefits and the employer is not charged. That is still possible, I would guess, for leftover appeals that are now coming up on maybe 6 months to a year old. And soon that option will no longer be available, but at least for any of the leftover pandemic ones, the ones who have kind of slipped through the cracks and continue to be in the limbo of appeals, that's what employers should remember.
That's quite helpful. I'm sure there are some other questions, but Tony, we're so appreciative that you were willing to stay on some additional time to answer some potent questions. And we're all going to stay prayerful that some of the chaos, people working hard and some people maybe not working, that we get this stuff straight. And we're really glad to have people with your expertise and the firm working on behalf of our community.
Great. Thank you again for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are wrapping up towards the end of our program, but as always, we want to bring you resources, resources that keep you healthy, informed, and powerful. So I'm going to ask Deja if she would bring up our slides of some really great activities. And by the way, while we have the slides for you, we would really appreciate your making it a point to let's drop them in the chat if we could. So Detroit Parent Network, we're excited to share that not only are we 20 years old this year, but we are celebrating Women's History Month and National Reading Month. And we're doing that in a couple of ways. So every fourth Friday, we are now doing Sankofa Saturday, because we recognize that literacy is liberation. So in our Sankofa Saturdays, we have books. And this Saturday, in honor of the Women's History Month, we are lifting up our sheroes, our parents who've been doing some phenomenal work, as well as having the opportunity to talk about literature and the importance of the images and the books and the voices that our children have are so important for them to be liberated and to gain their own potential. So that's our Sankofa Saturday from 11 to 1 o'clock. Next slide. We also want to let you know, many of you are very much film buffs, and you may know about the work of Shirikiana Aina Garima, who happens to be a Detroiter. And Shirikiana is the co-producer of the acclaimed international film, Sankofa, and is consistent with our focus on that we should go back to the past, to analyze it, understand it, use that to craft our future, and then have a strategic and powerful and equitable future. So join us for our next Powerful Parents Equity Cafe with Shirikiana Aina Garima and the work that she's done around gentrification, her travels to Brazil, Burkina Faso, and being an icon in the Washington, D.C. area at being an advocate. And she happens to be, for parents out there, doing all of that and has 6 children too. So please join us for our Powerful Parents Equity Cafe. That is tomorrow at 12 o'clock. We're going to be moving it forward now, focus in on our health. Let's not forget that we are still in the midst of a pandemic and need to be safe, and making sure that we're getting vaccines and health screening. Thank you. UNI is having a Wayne Health and Vaccine Mobile Clinic on March the 26th from 1 to 5. Wayne Health is the entity that has served over 50,000 people in the metro area of making sure that they not only get the vaccines and testing, but now are offering those really important health screening, because things like COVID, diabetes don't wait for something else. You've got to get in and make sure that you're seeing about that. By the way, we want to make sure that our children are getting vaccinated. And if you have young children, you need to make sure that they're getting their immunizations. And just keep in mind, when we say a vaccine, that essentially is an immunization. So parents, please go to UNI. If you've got questions, you're not sure, you can get your questions asked. Detroit, let's get our babies vaccinated so they can be safe and enjoy school and all the wonderful things that we want for them. There's also a workshop coming up. 482 Forward is rocking it with a discussion about Betsy DeVos is trying to destroy our schools again. We know that 482 Forward is that entity that is consistently bringing information that shows organizations and people who are not working on behalf of an equitable funding or equitable quality schools. So please join them on March the 31st. It's important that our voices are heard and that we're standing up for our children and that we're standing together in this work with 482 Forward, which is one of our backbones, part of the COVID 313 Coalition. Thank you. And that event is from 6 to 7:30. Thank you, Molly, for putting that in. Then we're happy to share one of our other partners with the coalition is the Congress of Communities, along with United Neighborhood Initiative, or UNI, is a skilled trades fair. This is really important. April the 6th from 3 to 6. There are jobs available, families. Come and learn what those are and how you can get in the path so that you can improve the economic mobility of your family, get those skills, find out what's required. And by the way, those skills are available not only for youth, but you can be 40, you can be 50 years old. And you too may want to get into a skilled trades program. Go check this out, April the 6th, 3 to 6 p.m. We got to help turn the city around. And talking about turning the city around, it's always important for us to stop and breathe and think about our spiritual health. And so one of the entities that's always been about trying to nurture our spiritual health, of course, is the Black church. And the Detroit Public TV has been doing an extraordinary series of investigations and lifting up the voices of Black folks, both in the church as well as women in particular. And this upcoming series is to look at the Black church and the impact of COVID. So join Detroit Public TV on the American Black Journal on Tuesday, March the 29th at 7:30 p.m. And DPTV, if you don't know, has been rocking it in support of our COVID 313 for these 2 years. Has been our backbone communicator and our communication vehicle. And that's why we know that we have touched over 400,000 people in our community. But we want to do more than touch. We want to hear from you. And we're hoping that the information that we're sharing is empowering you, keeping you safe, and keeping you fed with good food in the midst of a very challenging time. So again, we don't do this by ourselves. I'm going to ask everyone that's part of our COVID 313 Coalition, as well as some of the really wonderful presenters that we had. And we had some new folks today. It was wonderful having you, Afton. Willie had to leave, but he's been part of this work. And Marty is smiling particularly because he was the one who got several of you to come on board. And so with that, we want to thank you for your time. Thank you for those of you that have been hanging out with us for almost 2 years. We're going to continue to support, listen, and love on our community together. Thank you. Take care.